Hi, welcome to the Success Catalyst. My name is Nina Robert, and today my guest is known as the Time Management Lady. She's a motivator, entrepreneur, and facilitator. She's also an avid barefoot walker, nature lover, yoga enthusiast, home sewer crocheteer, and a positivity provider. She believes that everyone has the potential to achieve greatness and to fulfill their dreams. And that's why she's committed to providing innovative solutions and exceptional services that empower individuals to overcome obstacles and turn their aspirations into reality. Today, my guest is Jaiye Cordory. Hi, Jay.
Hello, thank you. Lovely to be here.
It's lovely to have you. So, my first question for you is, how did you end up doing what you're doing?
Wow, if you'd seen me 3 years ago, I definitely wasn't providing any positivity. I qualified as a teacher in 2019, and by 2021, completely burnt out, stressed out, wondering what was the point of life and all the rest of it. Late night, well, middle of night, Facebook scrolling, when you can't sleep because you've got the world going on in your head, came across personal development and was sold. All of a sudden, I found material information that basically told me that everything I've ever believed is actually true and you can have it. So I grew up in a world where you have to go to school, you have to get good grades, you have to get a degree to get any form of decent job. You have to then work your butt off for the rest of your life until you retire to then maybe get 10, 20 years where you might be able to go on holiday. That never sat well. It just seems like, why? Why is that forecasted? Why is that prescribed? Um, but actually, we can have anything we want. And it's the information that I share with people really gets that point across. You can have anything you like. You just have to work out what that is and go and get it.
Wow, that sounds absolutely amazing. And I believe we grew up on the same planet. So this was the way we were taught that, yeah, you should finish your studies and choose something, choose a stable job and choose a good home, choose to grow a family and have some kids. And then by the age of 40, if you have all of this, you've made it.
Mm,
This is like the trendy purpose that most people are content with.
it
And
seems it.
I've
Mm,
always believed that one should be always grateful, but never content. Do you agree?
yes, I 100% agree.
Absolutely. So let me ask you a question. Um, what mistake have you made in the past that now you would do differently, knowing what you're knowing?
Pushing and forcing anything to happen.
Hmm.
So it could be in a creative project, in a job, in schoolwork, anything. But any time that you're trying to do something that has some form of result at the end, be it
Yeah.
a degree, be it your school studies, be it a new pair of trousers, be it a decorated or finished house, if you push and force and just keep plugging, even when it feels really, really difficult and things aren't going well, the outcome's not going to be great. So what I've learned is that it actually goes a lot smoother and you get a much better result if you just take a step back when it feels hard, when it feels difficult, when it's not working, take a step back, take a breath, look at the bigger picture, and then try again.
And also never lose focus of the goal because most people tend to actually forget what they wanted in the first place and just go with the flow and eventually feel demotivated and feel to just be okay with staying where they are.
Yep.
Well, they had a goal in the first place, they forget about it, or they didn't even set up a goal because it was too scary, too challenging.
Or they're
What do
told
you
they
think
can't have
about
it.
this kind of goals?
Well, I liken it to the analogy of a satnav.
Hmm.
Your your body, your mind, yourself is like a satnav. It needs to know two things: where you are right now and where you're going. Where you're going is where is your goal, is where you want to be. So if
Hmm.
you set that, you then know where you are now because you're there and
Uh-huh.
knows which direction to take you. So I know down in Plymouth, if I want to go to my mum's in Leeds, I have to put leads in the satnav and I'm going to go roughly northeast.
Yeah.
But satnav isn't going to tell me the whole journey in one go. It's going to tell me at the end of the road, turn left. At the roundabout, make a U-turn. At the next roundabout, take the second exit. And you don't get the next piece of information, the next destination, the next instruction until you've got the first one.
Mm-hmm.
So it won't tell you at the second roundabout in 300 miles, turn right. It will tell you the one that's just coming up in a mile.
Absolutely.
So you need that goal, that destination.
And also people, sometimes they're not even aware of where they are because they don't look at their results as they should be looking. They look at their results and they're emotionally involved with what they have. They're emotionally involved with what's on their bank accounts, what's their relationship like, and they get just impacted or affected by that. And they don't actually look at that as a starting point, that this is where I am right now. I'm going to accept that, but I'm going to do my best to move towards where I want to be.
Yeah, tomorrow is a new day. Where you are today, a lot of when we're taught, even from small things, small children, when you're put in different sets for maths, if you're put in bottom set, children are told, well, you ain't going to get the high marks, so don't try. But actually, where we are now is just a snapshot.
Mm-hmm.
We can change that. If you're in a dud relationship, doesn't mean you're stuck there. If you're in a job you don't like, oh, well, I guess it pays the bills. No, it does pay the bills, but you're miserable as heck. If that's not so if you see your results where they are now, what your bank account is, what your relationship's like, what your education's like, what your job's like, if you see that now and you don't like it, then start making changes. The rest of your life starts tomorrow morning. And if tomorrow doesn't go great, it will start the morning after. But every morning is a fresh start.
Yeah. But you have to actually look at your results. You have to look at your results, which most people don't. I think most people set up resolutions at the beginning of the year because they look at like, what's the next nice thing I can have? I can have a better body. I can have more money. I can get a promotion in my job. It's easy to set up resolutions. It's easy to follow the next trend or do as our friends are doing.
Yeah.
But how can we make sure our resolutions persist over time?
Well, the first big thing is to make sure that resolution is what you want, not what you think somebody else wants for you or thinks you can get. So it's got to be something that you want, and you've got to know why you want it. So if it's you want the beach body because you've got this big trip booked for the summer, and at the moment you're maybe carrying 20 pounds of excess energy, well, you set that goal and you print off that picture of that body image that you want, and you decide that's what I'm going to do to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know to lose weight, you've got to exercise, you've got to eat healthy, you've got to look after the body. But after 2 weeks of having no chocolate and no sweets and no carbs, I don't know why that's a thing. We need carbs, it's energy.
We do.
We cut all of this stuff out and live like a rabbit. And after 2 weeks, you're feeling incredibly crap because your body's like, what's this? I'm not a rabbit. I want to eat food. So we set ourselves, and it then becomes an unrealistic goal. And we go, oh, well, because we want the feeling now. So we want that kick that we get from the chocolate bar. We want that feeling of being full rather than spending all day empty, or 18 hours a day of not eating anything and then 2 hours of literally stuffing ourselves till we're sick, of whichever fad diet it is at the moment.
Yeah.
But to set a new habit or to set a new goal, you've got to shift your habits. And to shift your habits, you've got to make them easy, obvious, and rewarding. So we live in a world nowadays where we get instant gratification. We want to be entertained. We're bored. Turn telly on. Click of a button. Done. Or we start scrolling on social media. You want interaction with some other human. You pick up the phone. 100 years ago, phones weren't a thing. You wrote a letter, and maybe in 3 weeks you'll get a reply. There's no instant messaging at all. But today we live in a world where gratification is now.
Mm-hmm.
When we set a goal of losing weight or earning money, putting some money aside to save for a trip, because the result isn't instant within 2 weeks, we lose interest, we get bored. We lose sight of the goal because it's too hard. I don't like not eating chocolate. Well,
Mm-hmm.
then you find a habit that works for you and start small.
Right.
So a recent habit that I started, well, a couple of years ago now, but recent-ish, was to do yoga every morning.
Mm-hmm.
So I make it easy by sleeping in clothes that you can do yoga in, pajamas.
Okay.
I'm in my house, no one can see, so they're my pajamas. And I roll my mat out the night before. So before I go to bed, I will roll the mat out on the floor of the bedroom. And then on my phone, on my YouTube, I have a playlist of yoga videos of different lengths, depending on what time I wake up and how long I've got. So when I wake up in the morning, it's as simple as literally roll off the bed onto the yoga mat, press play on a video.
It's very simple.
It works. And the same with if you're trying to lose weight or get fit. If you're trying to lose weight, get rid of the snacks out of the cupboard.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they're there, you'll eat them. If they're not there, you can't eat them. And if you really want them, we'll go for a walk to the shop to get some. Then you've got exercise and a snack. Perfect.
You've already burned the calories that you're going to eat. That's awesome.
Exactly. There's only one food on this planet that burns more calories than what you eat when you eat it, what you gain when you eat it. And that's celery.
Okay.
And that's not the nicest thing to eat. But there's so few calories in celery that you actually burn more by eating it.
Wow. Okay. That's
Fun
interesting
fact.
to know. Fun fact. Yeah. You are also known as the time management lady. So tell us more about your vision about time management and about productivity.
So I think something that's hit me quite recently through a lot of the study I've been doing is you hear this term time management. Time managing, you got to be better at managing your time. You got to be better at sorting out, oh, I wish I had more time. I wish I could do this with my time. But time is a constant. It doesn't change. Even when you cross a date line and it changes a few hours, actual physical time doesn't change. The hours and minutes that we measure are a human-based concept. It's a measurement like a kilometer or a kilogram. Minutes and seconds are just, they're human made. So we can't manage time because time is just a passing of a cycle. For us, it's spinning of the earth and going around the sun. So my approach to time and management, and I still call it time management because nobody understands it otherwise, but actually managing your activities. So each of us have all the time there is. No rich person or clever person can buy or create more time in a day. There's still only 24 hours in a day, full stop. It's what you do with that time that makes the difference. And we get to choose what we do with the time.
Right.
A lot of the time, we'll say, oh, we don't have enough time as you spend 3 hours a day scrolling or binge watching on Netflix.
Yes.
How many of us actually watch the TV? How long has it been since anybody actually said, oh, it's on at night, the program's on at 9 o'clock, so I'll make sure I've done this. We don't do that anymore.
It's a long
we
time.
watch it on catch up.
That's right.
Yeah, it's we choose how we manage and how we spend the time that we have. But you can't manage the physical time. It's just managing what you do with it. So I set up a course on my website.
Yeah.
It's 7 sessions and it's called Time Mastery. Now you don't master time, but if I call it activity mastery, it makes even less sense. So you master time by mastering your activities. And you can do that through setting a get done list, which is more fun than a to-do list because you get a whole list of things that you've done, not just a scribbled out piece of paper.
Yeah.
It covers things such as the Pomodoro technique.
Yes.
Which is where you work for 25 minutes. So you choose the thing off your get done list you're going to do. You work for 25 minutes on a timer and you have a 5-minute break. When that timer goes off, you stop. Mid-sentence, mid-flow, mid whatever it is that you're doing, you get up and you walk away because it's been proven we are more efficient in small blocks.
Yeah.
So if you work for 25 minutes and your mind knows it's getting a break in 5, it'll focus.
And those 5 minutes are actually the reward of the
Yeah.
chore that your brain has to do. And it's true that our attention span gets shorter and shorter over time.
Mm-hmm.
I personally have a harder time focusing than I was maybe 10, 15 years ago. So the Pomodoro technique, actually, I tried it and it helped me a lot, get a lot done in an optimized period of time, because in 3 hours I can do several rounds of the Pomodoro technique instead of saying, yeah, I have 3 hours of focus that I have to get these things done. That seems like a huge task to my brain and I'm already resenting it. But with the Pomodoro technique, I get just 25 minutes and then I have my 5 minutes of scrolling or going to eat a snack or doing whatever I want to do as a reward. So it really works and I love it.
Massive.
Let me ask you something else. So if there were 3 things I can do every day to maximize my productivity, what would they be?
So 3 things you can do every day to maximize your productivity. Set your get done list. So you write your list, preferably the day before, so that when you get up in the morning, it's there and you start with number 1. So you have maybe 6 things on your list. Start with number 1 and ignore the rest. They're written down. They're not going anywhere. Once number 1 is finished, it goes in the got done. Then you move on to number 2. We've already mentioned Pomodoro, but that is a great approach to getting your get dones done. So you focus on number 1 until number 1 is done. And then you move on to number 2, but you don't wait until you get like 1 finished before you move on to the next bit. You get number 1 done. And if you have a break halfway through, brilliant. And then the other third thing that I'd like to mention is becoming aware of when you procrastinate. So when you're not being productive and you notice, get up, walk away and do a 10-minute task. So my 3 top tips for being more proactive and getting more done in your day, get done list, using the Pomodoro technique to get your get dones done, and awareness. So when you are procrastinating, when you're off task, which can happen even with Pomodoro, you get up, you walk away, and you do a 10-minute task. And your 10-minute task is simply do something that can be done in 10 minutes that is productive. Hoover a room, put the washing away, do the washing up, sort the laundry, dust a bookshelf. Anything that can be done in 10 minutes and gives you a sense of fulfillment. Maybe put an extra 6 pieces in the puzzle. Anything that doesn't involve scrolling on your phone, because that's not productive.
Yeah, it's not.
So it's something that is physically productive that you can see an end result.
That's wonderful.
That boosts your brain back into, aha, I can do it. And then you go back and get on with what you were doing in the first place.
It gives you that dopamine reward that you need to keep going through the day. It gives you that motivation that maybe this 3-hour long task is not giving you so far. So you need something else to boost your energy and feel this fulfillment, as you said. Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you for all these tips. So you've been working with clients to help them maximize their productivity and manage their activity, not their time. So what's one mistake that you've seen most of your clients do, and how can we avoid it?
Allowing themselves to procrastinate.
Okay.
So when you're bored or you've got something that you set yourself something that you really have to do, but it's really scary because you've never done it, but it needs to be done to get to the goal.
Yeah.
So you have 2 options at that point. You either settle for the fact, oh, I'm never going to reach the goal. This is too hard. Woe is me. Or you notice when you're procrastinating. And the biggest thing that most people will do is like, oh, I'll do that in a minute. Oh, yeah, I'm going to do that today, but I'm just going to do this first. And you can find 100 different things to do other than that thing that you've got to do. For a salesperson, it could be picking up the phone and phoning 10 new prospects. Go and make a cup of tea. They'll clean their desk. You'll find the procrastinating salesperson has the cleanest desk in the world because they clean it 600 times a day rather than make their calls. So what I help people to understand is when they notice, so when you get that nagging voice in the back of your head that says, shouldn't you be doing this? Best way to come about from it is to count backwards. And it works with kids, it works in noisy classrooms, it works with adults, it works with absolutely anything. Scrolling on your phone, everything. You just go stopping in 5, stopping in 4, going to go and do a 10-minute task in 3. I'm stopping the scrolling or the faffing or whatever it is in 2, stopping in 1, stopping. And if it's scrolling on your phone, you simply click the lock button, get up and move. If it's cleaning your desk, it's get up and move away from the desk.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go and do a 10-minute task, reset, and then come back and do the thing that you're doing. Now, counting back even works, like I said, in noisy classrooms. You try 30 teenagers, year 9, year 10, they ain't listening. But if you start saying, listening in 3, all your equipment out in 2, sitting on your chairs, eyes on the board in 1, and listening. Brilliant. Love to see that person over there, and you name them and say, oh, wow, how amazing. Everyone's listening. Okay, I've got about 85% of people listening. And even that, you can do that in the roughest, toughest school in anywhere, and they will listen. You might only have their attention for the next 3 seconds, but it gets their attention and it works because it's the countdown. When you count down, your brain suddenly goes, oh, hang on, I've got to do something. And it's effective.
It really works. Yeah, I've heard that you can do this even for your, like when your alarm goes off in the morning. Instead of hitting the snooze button, you can just say, okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I'm up. And you'll be up.
Yep.
And it works brilliantly. Do you think on a subconscious level, procrastination can mean something else?
It could do. There are an awful lot of different theories out there about why we procrastinate. The biggest one that resonates with me is simply that we procrastinate on the thing that we know we have to do. We know how to do it. We know why we need to do it, but we don't do it because our subconscious is telling us that actually that's going to cause the big change that we might want consciously, but it doesn't want because it's a change and it's scary. So if it's like a money goal, like for the salesperson, we use the salesperson example again, if they're currently making 5 sales a week and they want to make 20 sales a week because they want to get their promotion or they want to do that big round the world holiday. Yeah. They're set and their paradigm, their awareness is set at 5 sales. If they then start doing things that gets them 20 sales, they're going to set up a conflict inside. And for most of us, we don't notice that. We just carry on with our day and we might get a bit of hindsight later saying, wasn't I supposed to do that? Like, why didn't I do? But the more it happens and the more aware you become of it, the more likely you're then to do it. Then you get the butterflies and the pressure heads because your body's like, well, you didn't listen when I tried to stop you doing it properly. So now I'm going to make you suffer because it still wants you to stay safe. Here is safe in its own little bubble. It might be miserable, but it's safe. We know what's happening.
Yeah.
It doesn't want you to do that.
I always say that the paradigm has good intentions. It's there to protect you, but to keep you where you are because it thinks that where you are is the safest place. Because the unknown is usually scary because we don't know what risks are there out there, what are the events or the people or what's going to happen in the unknown place.
Exactly.
So
and it's
the paradigm wants to keep us where we are. But
it's
we know
why so many people stay in relationships that aren't that nice.
Yeah.
Because yes, it's not nice, and yes, they don't like it, and it could be violent, it could be abusive, but they'll stay there because they're like, yeah, but I know this. I know that that person is only going to do X, Y, Z when I trigger them to do, and I know where the triggers are. So it's all good at the moment. I haven't triggered, but out there could be worse. At least I've got a roof over me. I've got food. They say they love me, but they won't allow themselves to step out of that and to live because the outside world is technically more scary because it's unknown.
Yeah, that's the challenge. But as I said, on a conscious level, we know better, but on a subconscious level, we need to remind ourselves, we need to become more self-aware, and using the tips that you gave us would help a lot, I guess, because It helps us become more and more conscious throughout the day, especially throughout the day, because we are distracted by so many things,
Yep.
so many phone calls, so many useless chores, so many things that we want to do but end up doing something else. People are distracting us. Social media, we can scroll for hours on Instagram without even noticing what
Yep.
time it is. And if we don't have this list, we don't even know what we're supposed to do when we wake up. So we just
Exactly.
go and do whatever thing that presents itself.
Yeah, or you do the other extreme and you write a list that is so long it's really demoralizing.
Yeah.
It could be 3 or 4 pages.
Yeah.
That I call the master list. There
Yes.
might be 300 or 400 things you do have to do that you want to do, but you only pick a handful each day, and you leave the master list in the cupboard where you can't see it. It's not
So
going anywhere.
the daily to get done list shouldn't be, get $1 million, get my dream house.
Yeah,
Not something like that. Should
break
be
it down into small
actionable
bits.
items, should be
Yeah,
doable in certain amount of time. That is the daily hours of work that you
yeah,
set for yourself. Yeah,
exactly.
brilliant. So how can we find you online? Tell us more about your courses, programs, events, etc.
So my biggest hub, the easiest way to get hold of everything I do is my website, which is rethinkyourperspective.com. I have a selection of affiliate-based courses on there. I do consulting for the Procter Gallagher Institute, so all of their courses are available on there through me. I also have a couple of my own courses that I've done. So I've mentioned time mastery. I also have planituding, which is it's a daily like journal where you can plan. There's space for planning, getting the get done list written down the night before, place for your intention. So how do you intend tomorrow to go? My intention today is to focus. And so far I am pretty focused. It's done well. And also to write down your daily gratitude, because attitude of gratitude opens your mind up to see the good rather than the bad. And it could be as simple as gratitude of, I woke up this morning. I'm breathing fresh air. I have a roof over my head. There's food in the cupboard. I have clothes to wear. I have a job to go to. I might not like the job, but at the moment I have a job to go to. And things, it could be anything that you're grateful for in a day. The sunshine. Doesn't happen often, especially not down here in Plymouth, but we're grateful when it does. Super grateful. It's a variety of courses on the website. There's also a blog, loads and loads of information, and all the links to my socials are at the bottom as well on every single page. So I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Pinterest, and the others, Twitter as well, and YouTube. Loads of videos on YouTube. And again, that's at Rethink Your Perspective.
And to our listeners, I will put all this information in the description of the episode. So to finish with, what's one last piece of advice you can give our listeners?
The biggest advice that I've been given in the last 3 years is simply to be me. Stop trying to be somebody else. You've got to get in touch with who you are. Let that person out. Be true to you. And don't worry about what anyone else says, because you're going to get criticism. Doesn't matter what you do, you are going to get criticism from somebody for something you are doing. So if you're doing something that resonates with you and is you, you're going to get criticized. But if you didn't do it, you'd still get criticized.
Right.
So be you. Just be true to you. You are the only person who lives with you for 24 hours of every single day. So all of your time, you are the only person you spend it with all the time. So be true to you. Do what makes you feel good, what makes you feel happy, that resonates with you.
And I'll add to that a very good start is to start knowing who you are, because sometimes we think we know ourselves, but there's a lot to discover about our desires, our needs, our triggers, our procrastination habits, or our superpowers. Could be anything really. And the more you know, the better you can do, and the more you can achieve. So there's always room for improvement, but you got to do the work and you get to know yourself, and then you got to accept to be yourself. I love that. Thank you so much, Jay. It was really a pleasure to have you today. I learned so much. And to our listeners, I'll put all the information, as I said, in the description of the episode. This was the Success Catalyst podcast. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.